Hi guys, this is SK Divedi and I am welcoming you to my YouTube channel Adbhut Learning. And here I am representing Adbhut Learning IS Academy. Friends, the basis of making this video is I am taking here public administration as an optional. Right? And here especially we are focusing on thinkers. As of now, we had discussed about few thinkers. Starting from Woodrow Wilson, Kautilya, I'm just writing here, Woodrow Wilson, Kautilya, Henry Fayol, F.W. Taylor, and now we are discussing about Max Weber. These videos have already been uploaded, and one video of that is part 1, we can say it is also been uploaded. So today's video, the perspective, here we are going to discuss about the part 2 of Max Weber. As you know, Max Weber is known as a father of bureaucracy. The bureaucratic structure which we are observing or seeing here about our life in life, that is came from the Max Webers. Okay, so guys, I'm just forwarding my video in the form of part 2. As you know, Max Weber, in my previous video I told you Max Weber is from Germany. Whatever the studies, the political background he has taken in Germany. He was the person with so much education. He graduated in law, then he go for the history, then he go for the economics, then sociology. In the latter phase of his life, he was with the sociology. So in this kind of literary world which Max Weber had, he has given a theory. That theory has been derived as a Weberian theory. Right? That is Weberian theory. It is also known as bureaucratic theory. That is why he was known as father of bureaucracy. In last videos, we have discussed about the concept of authority. What authority was at the time of Weber and earlier to him. Because when Weber was working on a literary work, he was writing a dissertation. And that was on the business of Romans. He comparatively given a dissertation on historical background of all these things. So he was much aware about the administrative setups. Particularly, he has not used a word administration in the writing. He was just telling what authority must be for a particular terrain or say for a government. Right? So that time he was talking about a command. That time he was talking about the authority. He was talking about the legal rational relationship, means legal rational authority. He was talking about traditional authority. He was talking about charismatic authority. And third, he was talking about legal rational. In the previous video, I had explained about these things. After that, if you go with the traditional authority, that was divided into 3 parts, that is patriarchal, patrimonial, patrilineal. Right? patrimonial. These three types were there. Then I talked about the charismatic authority, and later on I talked about the legal rational. But after discussing, means after quoting this kind of authorities, Weber went beyond, and when he went beyond, he talks about the pure type authority. What is pure in terms of Weber? So when this authority setup was defined by Weber in the pure form, that was again described as writing here, the administrative system how Weber has defined the administrative system. The administrative system in three ways, as I told you: traditional, first, second, charismatic, third, legal rational. When he was talking about the traditional, he differentiated this traditional in patrimonial and feudal. Patrimonial and feudal. That I have explained in my previous video. When he was talking about the charismatic, here no administrative setup. There were no administrative setup. Then what it was? That is was patrimonial. Patrimony. Right? So when he was discussing about the traditional, Weber has discussed about the patrimonial. Then feudal, he said that it is another way of defining the traditional authority. When he was discussing about the charismatic, then he told that it is nothing but the no administrative setup, a system. Further, it has been divided into patrimonial, which was earlier known as the part of this traditional, this patrilineal, patrimonial, and the patrilineal. So these are the categorization which made by the Weber in the pure type of authority. Right? What is legal rational? When legal rational, the question is, Weber defined that is bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. Right? That is bureaucracy. This is the pure type. Pure type. Right? So this was the categorization of Weber in the writing. The word bureaucracy, was, when it is the meaning, when you try to get it, that is public affairs. Public affair. Public affair. Right? Means the administrators are going to take care about the people's functions, people work, their obstacles, their problems. Means they have to deal with the public affairs. That is the meaning of the bureaucracy was derived. Okay? One says about this bureaucracy, it is said that it is found in China 186 BC. It is found the bureaucracy is in the FCL bureaucracy, if you want to see the glimpses of this, you will see this China in 186 BC. So it is, you cannot say that it's a new concept has arrived. It was there, but in which form? That is the discussion point that we had discussed about the traditional form, patrimonial, legal, and patriarchal. That is the thing. So after that, you will see it in French government. After that, it has been derived by Britishers. So in this way, this bureaucracy has evolved in many countries. The same concept which Britishers brought has implemented in Indian entire system of the organization of the government. That is the bureaucracy. Right? Now we are going to discuss about the core of Weber's theory. Core. The crux, the core of the Weberian theory. Weber himself has not tried to quote or say that this is bureaucracy. He is not pointing even the term bureaucracy. There was a thinker. His name was Vincent D. Gournay. Vincent D. Gournay. The Vincent D. Gournay, who was a French economist and coined the word bureaucracy. He was a French economist who coined the word bureaucracy. Who coined this bureaucracy? Vincent D. Gournay. He was a French economist, not a Weber. It was a French word, and the meaning of this French word was bezel to cover desk. Bezel to cover desk. And kratos, the another form, crazy, the kratos, is a Greek word. Bezel, that is bureau, and then the crazy, krates. It's a Greek word. And the meaning of kratos is to rule. To rule, power of rule. Bezel to cover desk and power of rule. It means desk पर बैठकर रूल करना. तो ये डेस्क पर बैठकर रूल कौन करता है? Okay. So desk is connected with the clerical job, and actually they are dealing with the public, not the king directly dealing with the public. So these are the employees, these are the workers who deliberately dealing with the daily basis of with the public. So they have power, and that power has been derived from the king, the legitimate authority of that entire kingdom. So that was the the concept which brought by Vincent de Gournay, that is known as bureaucracy. Okay, so I think you must have clear that the word bureaucracy and the definition of bureaucracy which has been brought, it is not the Weber but the Vincent de Gournay. Right? Now, before, I said prior to Max Weber, there were so many thinkers, you can say the connotations of the bureaucracy has been derived. As I told you, in China, it was in 186 BC that was found. And it was also being differentiated from the political executives. They were not elected representatives, they were appointed representatives. They are appointed representative, not the elected. Okay, that is the definition of bureaucracy. If somebody asks you what is bureaucracy, who has given this word bureaucracy, then I think you will be able to give the answer. The Vincent de Gournay was the person who has given this word bureaucracy, and here bureau means the desk and kratos means it's a Greek word power of rule. So this is the entire concept of bureaucracy. Now, in this entire discussion, where is Weber? What Weber has contributed and why he became the father of bureaucracy? Now we are going to discuss. I think I have just reviewed it. Actually, what happened when Weber was discussing about the administrative setup, he has given 8 elements, 8 points I can say are following features, 8 features. He talks about 8 features. These 8 features which he given, that become the basis of bureaucracy. Because earlier bureaucracy word was defined, but what actually bureaucrats will do, that was not clear. It was blurred. So when Weber has studied this concept and when he has derived and given to the word, that time he talks about the 8 features. What bureaucracy means, the administration have. In administrative setup, what organization how organization should work, how it should run. That was talked by the Max Weber. Right? So first he talked about hierarchy. Hierarchy first he talked means there must be a hierarchy. When I was discussing about the Woodrow Wilson, Henry Fayol, especially say Henry Fayol, that time we were discussing about hierarchy. Okay, hierarchy means there must be a system. There must be a system where officers were commanded by these superiors. Okay, this system, this hierarchy must be defined. Weber has given, has talked about it. Second point, he talked about sphere of competence. इसको हम लोग स्पेशलाइजेशन भी कह सकते हैं, स्पेशलाइजेशन। ओके, sphere of competence or specialization. How this specialization or say sphere of competence defined? Means the area of functionality. Every worker must have the clear vision about it. The speciality especially comes with the responsibility. Responsibility. If you are specialized with any tools, techniques, management system, then you must have the responsibility towards that particular job. Okay. Next is impersonal law. Impersonal law. There is nothing about personal in the bureaucratic setup. In administrative setup, there is nothing can be a personal. So people must have the impersonal. Okay? Then you cannot say that you have something personal in your office. When you have this feeling as an impersonal law, then you will be detached from the every you can say the durable part of the particular office. Because when you will be head of the particular position, or you have the power of that particular position, then you will be having something personal belongingness. And you will fall into the corruption, nepotism. The corrupt activities will catch you. So there must be an impersonal law. Next. Written record. Fourth one is written record. Whatever the work will take place in daily basis of the administrative setup, there must be a written record. Because here you are not dealing with 1 or 2 person or 5 person. You are dealing with the public, a mass of public. And you cannot say that, yes, vocally or verbally, you know that people are public. Everything must be written. Because law is written. So, if today you have done something, it must be written down. If next day or after a few days, if you recall those things, there's something is written or has been already written. You can refer, you can review. If you have not written down anything, then after a few days you will forget. That is the written record. And you will find in your scenario or in your environmental setup, and whenever you go to any public agency, everything has been written. Written documents are always asked. Okay? Just let's say an example of if you are going to the bank or in public authority, let's say if you are going to say post office. For posting a letter, you ask for a receipt. And they also written down that where this letter will go on, what will be the cost. That is the thing. That comes in the form of written record. Next, that is merit basis. Merit based. Now Weber has focused on merit based. Because earlier what is happening? A spoil system was going on in America. America. In various part of the world where kingdoms were ruling the country, that time this merit system was not there. Are there? If there, then at least merit system is there. So here Weber has focused on merit-based selection. Examination based, or say recruitment, selection, promotion, transfer, everything must be on merit basis. Recruitment, selection, transfer. Here, recruitment, selection, transfer, posting, ये सब कब होना चाहिए? That all should be on merit basis. Okay, so you will get the best officials in your organization. Right? So that was focused by Weber. Next, Weber has talked about detached spirit. Detached spirit. What is detached spirit? How this detached the spirit has been defined by Weber. He said that there must be a separation between public and private ends. Separation between public and private ends. If any officer is having the authority on a particular office with power, he will be using the his position as a private person, as a private end. It must not be there. Why? Because this power which an official has gained, it is given by the public through the political masters. And that particular office belongs to the every single penny of the public, not the personal property of that particular officer. So there must be a detached spirit. अगर आप सपोज कीजिए, अगर आप किसी ऑफिस में जाते हैं एंड यू बिकम द कलेक्टर एंड आपको ऑफिस मिलता है, गाड़ी मिलती है, घर मिलता है, सो कल को आप सोचेंगे कि नहीं ये तो मेरा ही खुद का है, ये मेरी पर्सनल बिलोंगिंगनेस होगी. बट ऐसा नहीं है. यू कैन नॉट अटैच विद ऑल दिस बिलोंगिंगनेस रिलेटेड विद योर पावर. इट मस्ट बी डिटैच्ड because you are appointed for the solution of public their problems which arises. They came to you, came in front of you, and they will ask for solutions. So you have to use all these articles you will get in your office. So there must be a detached spirit. Next is career system. Career system. See, when Weber was talking about the career system, he talked about when a bureaucrat or administrator join a public authority on the basis of merit basis, recruitment, selection, transfer, posting, all these will happen in their entire career or life. Because after selection in an administrative setup, he will be working for his entire life till the age of retirement. So, joining as a character and how he will promoted up to the chief secretary. Their salaries and perks must be changes are increased by their every promotion. So these all comes under the in the entire lifetime, he must get this fixed salary. Accordingly, it must be increased, increment. He must get it. The authority, responsibilities, privilege, whatever he is going to get, must be increased with the time. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आपने IAS की जॉब के लिए अप्लाई किया और आपका सिलेक्शन यू विल बिकम दी यू विल getting training in Missouri. After the training you will be in the field job working as an various post under the guidance of the collector of that particular district. If you just feel, if you remain as an SDO for the entire life, then what will you do with the certificate of the IAS? Or say if you just become the collector and you are not permitted to give you the promotions up to the secretary level or chief secretary level, then what will happen? Then there will be a problem. Okay, so Weber has talked about the career system. After joining a service, you must be promoted. Your salaries must be increased. Your perks must be increased. Your power, authority, responsibility must have increased. So then you will work very prominently. Okay. Next, Weber has talked about non-bureaucratic head. Non-bureaucratic head. Very important feature Weber has raised. Non-bureaucratic head. What is bureaucracy? The bureaucracy, being an organization of appointed officials, should be headed by an elected head. The non-bureaucratic head. As you know, अगर आप अपने गवर्नमेंट सेटअप को देखें इंडिया में ही, every government have their ministries and every ministries have their own chief secretaries and every chief secretaries they have further secretaries and this comes up to the district collector level in every state. This same scenario you will find in state as well. So for every bureaucratic setup, there is an elected head. These ministers are the elected heads. They are not the selected officers. They are elected. And under their guidance, these bureaucrats have to work because they are the legitimate authorities. They are making the policies on the demand of the public and they have to fulfill those demands. So bureaucrats have to follow the orders of the particular elected masters. That is why Weber has raised this non-bureaucratic head. Just imagine what will happen if there will be no any bureaucratic head. Then they may become corrupt. They may become the authoritarian, extra authoritarian. They are not going to listen to your says. So that can be a chaotic situation we create. So they always have a non-bureaucratic head. So these all 8 features, if you see in the Weberian theory, you will find in your own country as well. All these things. Right? All the features you will get in your own organizational setup or Indian setup. Right? We talked about hierarchies. You will see in your governing setup, you will see the specialization, sphere of competence. You will see in personal law, you will see written law, records, laws, merit based recruitment. जैसे यूपीएससी का एग्जाम है, कैसे होता है? मेरिट बेस्ड भी होता है. If you get the good marks, you will become the IAS officers. If you get less marks, you will become the IPS, IRS, or anything. So this is the thing. Then he talked about detached spirit. Detached spirit क्या है? यहाँ पर पब्लिक एंड प्राइवेट एंड यानी कि जो बिलोंगिंगनेस है वहां पर्टिकुलर ऑफिस की, वो आप पब्लिक ही रहने दें, प्राइवेट ना बनाए. Then he talked about career system. After joining the government system or organization, you must have the fixed salary system, promotions by the time. So these are the things that talked about the struggle. Mr. Max Weber has also talked about the non-bureaucratic effects. Is a very important feature. So in this way, Weber has talked about legal rational authority. This all system you find in legal rational authority. Legal rational authority. Right? After that, Weber was not, I say, pessimistic regarding the problems of this entire system, because every concept has their merit and demerits. So we can say Weber was optimistic. So to overcome, अब कोई कॉन्सेप्ट दिया गया है, any concept has been given, then there must be some problems, and to overcome these problems, Weber has, मैं लिखता हूं, to overcome the problems Weber has talked about few strategies, like few strategies. First Weber has talked about separation of power. And then right now, then I will define it. Next is collegiality. Collegiality. Next, we talk about amateurism. He said about direct democracy. Direct democracy. And lastly, the strategy he has given, the representative democracy. Representative democracy. So, to overcome the problems, few strategies has been evolved by the Weber himself, because he was aware about the problems. He was not pessimistic, but he was optimistic. And with these strategies, we can overcome the problems which will arise after the implementation of all these eight features. in a particular administrative setup. So first we talked about the separation of power. That is separation of power. The separation of power means what? Every authority, officials must have their separate power sphere. They must not, they should not, collapse or say, इसको कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा आप देख सकते हैं, इंटरफेयर नहीं होना चाहिए. There must not be any interference by one body to another body. So clear demarcation of separation of power must have the part of the organization. Every body must have enjoyed their definite power in the entire arrangement of power setup. Collegibility. Second, that is collegibility. The collegibility is power share between two or more bodies. ऐसा भी एक सिस्टम होना चाहिए. There must be a system where two or more bodies have come together to solve any problem. Okay. So collegibility have also some flaws, because when two or three organizations came together to solve any problem of an organization, that there must be a delay or disposal. You won't be able to take the decision within the frame time. Right? So this is the collegibility, and Weber was aware about this. So he talked about collegibility. Next, amateurism. Amateurism. When Weber was discussing about detached spirit in their features, so he defined that an official has been recruited for a particular job, and the associated or supported articles, vehicles, instruments which has been given to that particular officer, it is just for helping that official to solve the problems of the people. But what happened actually, the particular whatever the ingredient has been given to the particular officer, he thinks that it is all belongs to me. Right? It is in detached spirit Weber has talked about it. Because an officer, after joining the service, he served it for the longer period of lifetime. Means till the retirement age, he served the particular organization. So it is but obvious that he may think that all the belongingness belongs to me. So it should not be there. That is why Weber has talked about amateurism. Amateurism always has been observed that it will rid the core competency of the organization. It rid the core competency of the organization. Amateurism. Next, direct democracy. What is direct democracy? In direct democracy, where decisions are directly taken by the people, and it is you can see or observe in a small country it can happen. That is Switzerland. You will see it in Switzerland. Where population is less, so people are directly participating in the functioning of the government. They choose their people. When they feel that the people is not performing, they just hand him to say leave this chair. So direct democracy is good, but in a small country where the population is very meager. But it cannot be applicable in large democracy like us. Last, representative democracy. The representative democracy you can observe in your own country, where elected masters are there and under them the bureaucracy function. The selected masters, they are dealing with the public. But under the elected officials or say elected ministers. That you can see in India, America, most of the countries will see all these features. Right? Now we can discuss about something. Why? Just one thing I want to discuss here. Why this bureaucracy has emerged? This bureaucracy has emerged in the era of colonialism. That time it has been observed that many countries are coming to invade the countries, and further they try to occupy all the parts of the country. They try to administer. So for that they require a machinery who can administer, because they are not a natives. They belong. They are the invaders. So directly they cannot rule their country. So that is why they required a particular machinery. And that machinery is the real representative of the particular masters, and in the form of bureaucracy. That is why the emergence of bureaucracy has taken place. Right? And the features which has been given by Weber has become the nail for the administrative setup. And it is still in existence, and I don't think so it is going to be removed by anyone. It will remain in our administrative setup. Although after the discussion of so many things, positives of the Weber theory, many thinkers has criticized Weber. Because many thinkers felt that it is the most reward model. Most reward model critical, criticize, critical issues. इसको थिंकर्स का काम मोस्ट रिवर्ड माना है. ओके, लाइक रॉबर्ट मर्टन, फिलिप सेज़निक, and Gardner. Robert Merton, Philip Selznick and Edwin Gardner. Like thinkers, they have criticized. And he said the Weberian theory is dysfunctional. Weberian theory is dysfunctional model. That is why Robert Merton, Philip Selznick and Edwin Gardner is renowned as a dysfunctional theorist. Dysfunctional theorist. इनको हम लोग डिसफंक्शनल थ्योरिस्ट भी कहते हैं. Dysfunctional theorist, you can call it. Next, Robert Merton further said that Weberian theory is a victim of. उन्होंने क्या कहा रॉबर्ट मर्टन ने? Victim of formalism. And this formalism has been defined as hierarchy and rules. It is a victim. You know, these words you will find in mains question. When UPSC asks, they put the same line as it is. And if you are not aware about these lines, you won't be able to relate your answer. So, who said this victim of formalism? Robert Merton said. Right? So, the formalism means victim of formalism, Robert Merton whatever said, it also challenged the concept of Weber's on legal rational model. Means if they are victims, then their legal rational model is also dysfunctional. This is also said by Robert Merton. So here, what he further said, Robert Merton said, the rules of regulation which has been framed to rule, to solve the problems of people, ultimately what will it become? It become the ultimately we means the administrators, bureaucrats are possessing to solve the problems of the problem, not the problem, to possessing the rules and regulation. They were not keen on the public affairs, public problems, but they were keen on the rules and regulations. Rules must be followed whether the problem has been solved or not. So that is why he further said that raise the red taxes. Red said by Robert Merton. फिलिप सेल्ज़निक नेक्स्ट, इन्होंने क्या किया, टेनेसी वैली, जो टेनेसी वैली है कॉर्पोरेशन, उस पर एक इंपीरिकल स्टडी की। एक इंपीरिकल स्टडी, and he found that there is a general tendency of dislike, general tendency of dislike, dislike towards Weberian administrative model. It was challenged, means in grassroots what he has observed. Right? Alvin Gardner, he has published Alvin Gardner published a note about patterns of industry, patterns of bureaucracy, industrial bureaucracy, industrial bureaucracy. And he divided bureaucracy into two parts. First, punishment oriented bureaucracy, punishment centered. And second, representative. First, he categorized into punishment centered, and second, he categorized into representative bureaucracy. Two forms. So, Gardner has himself divided into two parts. In one way, he was discussing about punishment centered, means bureaucracy is nothing but the punishment centered. And second, he was talking about the representative bureaucracy. So, in this way, these thinkers have criticized Weberian theory. Later also, many thinkers like Lawrence J. Peter, Raymond Hall, they also criticized Weberian theory. They said that it is incompetent. Who? Peter and Raymond Hall. They said incompetent. They raised a question about the merit system. Promotion was restricted due to this merit system. Right? So this has been criticized by various thinkers. So this is all about the Weberian theory and their concept and their critical issues. After all, after discussing all these things, few things I would like to touch here. Post-Weberian development. Post-Weberian development. The post-Weberian development was categorized or studied in two categories, that is theoretical development and post-Weberian development. So whatever we had discussed up till now, that was the theoretical part. And second one is the Weberian theory or say Weberian structure. हम पहले डिस्कस करते हैं theoretical. Theoretical development. First. Second point, public choice school. Public choice school. Third one, bureaucracy democracy contrast. Bureaucracy democracy contrast. पोस्ट वेबरियन डेवलपमेंट में क्या हो रहा था, थियरिटिकल डेवलपमेंट की बात की गई. एंड इन थियरिटिकल डेवलपमेंट में क्या हो रहा था, फर्स्ट सेकेंड, यहां पर मैं पूरा का पूरा लिख देता हूं. क्रिटिकल थ्योरी, fourth one is phenomenological approach. Phenomenological approach. Phenomenological approach. Anti-ideological. Ideological and anti-Eurocentric approach. Anti-ideological and anti-Eurocentric approach. Normative question next. Normative questions. थ्योरेटिकल डेवलपमेंट में इसको मैं पहले ए करता हूं. ए इसमें पब्लिक चॉइस स्कूल, ब्यूरोक्रेसी डेमोक्रेसी कॉन्ट्रास्ट, क्रिटिकल थ्योरी, फेनोमेनोलॉजिकल अप्रोच, एंटी आइडियोलॉजिकल एंटी यूरोसेंट्रिक अप्रोच, नॉर्मेटिव क्वेश्चंस. आफ्टर दैट इंटर-थ्योरेटिकल लिंकेज. इंटर-थ्योरी इसको मैं इधर लिखता हूं. Inter-threatical linkage and last one is good governance. Good governance. Right? And second one is B. Post-Weberian approach. First one is theoretical development and second is post-Weberian approach. When we started discussing about theoretical development, that comes under 8 points. That is public choice school, bureaucracy democracy contrast, critical theory, phenomenological approach, anti-ideological, anti-Eurocentric approach, normative questions, inter-threatical linkage, good governance. These all we are going to study, in public administration. Right? So here my focus was on, the post-Weberian development. After that, Karl Marx. One thing is known as Karl Marx. He criticized Weberian theory. Right? And in defining criticizing the Weberian theory, he went beyond the extreme of their criticism. Right? So when we are going to discuss about Karl Marx in my thinkers lecture, then we will discuss about the Karl Marx. But in brief, I'm just telling you, Karl Marx has criticized Weberian theory. Right? So he said that it is anti-people, anti-policy. They work for themselves. They involve in red tapeism. They are anti-welfarism. So all these concepts been raised by Karl Marx in their writing when he was criticizing. He has a critical viewpoint against the Weberian theory. So, my dear friend, this is all about my discussion about Max Weber. In my part 1, I had discussed about the brief of the educational background of Max Weber, then his working, then his gradual development in the literary world, and the model which he talked in the form of traditional, charismatic, and legal rational authority. He talks about the command. So this was all about my video of the first part of the Max Weber. In my second video, which I had discussed earlier, further development of the bureaucratic model, Weberian theory. He talked about so many things. He talked about the pure form of legal rational authority. Again, he redefined the traditional, charismatic, and legal rational authority. Then his model, which is based, has talked about eight main features, and these 8 main features has become the foundation for the bureaucracy. Because the word bureaucracy is not given by Weber, but it was given by Mr. Vincent. He coined the word bureaucracy. But the foundation which was made by the Weber. Right? So this is all about Max Weber. Then many thinkers has criticized the Weberian theory. Like I talked about the Merton, Selznick, Gardner, all these thinkers has criticized. And after that, there is a post-Weberian development. This post-Weberian development, which has taken place in the form of theoretical development and post-Weberian approach, this all we will discuss in public administration part. So here my focus was just on the thinkers. So I'm just stopping here, not going to into detail of all this aspect. So thank you very much. Please share, like, and subscribe my channel so many people can get the benefits of my these lectures of the public administration. So please again I welcome you to my YouTube channel अद्भुत लर्निंग. आपका अद्भुत लर्निंग की IAS अकेडमी में आपका स्वागत है. Thank you very much.